So our next panel brings together the co-founder and chairman of the nonprofit incubator, LookUp.live, with a panel of teenagers. So Susan founded LookUp.live to empower young people to reverse the negative effects of the digital overload. And we all know how overloading that can be. So with her, I'm going to welcome Juliet Gildehaus, I'm sorry for the wrong pronunciation, Jesse VanNewKirk, I think, and Jamie Levy.
It's an honor to be here at the Never Alone Summit and introduce you to our youth panel, Listening to Gen Z. I'm Susan Reynolds, co-founder of LookUp.live, a nonprofit sparking a youth-led social movement away from 24/7 connectivity and digital overload for better tech life balance and improved mental health. So why? In 2014, I recognized that there was an escalating mental health crisis on college campuses, as well as among teens, and wanted to know what was going on. And if we think about it, in 6 years, that escalation has increased, and now during COVID-19, even more so. So what would happen if we started to look at our digital habits and found a way to regulate them and improve them? Would we be able to prevent some of this? So in my 6 years working on this, I'd forgotten to do one thing. I had forgotten to turn to the very youth to support and ask them, what are your solutions? So that's really what we've done. What we heard was youth want evidence-based research. They want the data, but they do not want to be told what to do. They want to be asked what to do and create their own healthy relationships with technology and have their own agency. So I'm thrilled to be here to introduce you to 3 panelists, a high school student, a college student, and a young alumni who really have worked on this and have some solutions. So the first person I'm going to introduce is Juliet Gildehaus, a senior at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, the first social innovator I worked with in creating the LookUp Challenge, a way to take a break from your technology in your own terms. So Juliet, I'd love to hear why you are so passionate about this issue.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. To start, my involvement with LookUp and the digital wellness movement happened pretty organically, because I was really just searching for ways to establish a better relationship with my own tech and find my own tech life balance. And it was through my own sort of experimentation that I began talking with friends and hearing about their struggles and learning that they shared a similar desire to get away from the 24/7 connectivity that we had all grown so accustomed to. And from talking with my friends and observing my peers and my community, I was really inspired to start learning about these issues, 24/7 connectivity, social media overload, and tech addiction in more depth, and specifically how they were affecting people my age, since as a generation, we have grown alongside social media. And the more I read and learned about the connections linking social media and tech usage with mental health struggles such as anxiety and depression, the more I felt like these issues needed to be brought to the forefront of the conversation. So that's when I started working with you, Susan, and we created the LookUp Challenge as one way for people to create balance in their relationship with tech in a manner that didn't feel isolating, as I think stepping away from social media, especially for people my age, can feel pretty intimidating, as it's one of the primary ways we stay connected with family and friends. But really the end goal of the challenge was just to bring awareness to the issues and bring people to be more mindful in their approach to tech. And it's been amazing to see how students across the country and world have adopted the challenge, made it their own and expanded upon it and brought it to their own schools and families and communities. And for me, that's hugely inspiring, and I think really indicative of the fact that we can make a change and we can create a world where we can live alongside social media and appreciate and leverage all of its amazing positive aspects without having to suffer so much from the negative ones.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Juliet. And in our story of LookUp, what we realized was, wait a minute, we can ask more youth. And so we actually have hosted grant competitions on university campuses, design-a-thons, to ask students to really delve into this issue. So I'm really thrilled to introduce you to Jesse VanNewKirk, He is finishing his freshman year at Dartmouth College and is one of our grant recipients with his team. And I'm going to let him talk to you about why he became involved and his new endeavor, Quell.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Susan. It's actually been a wonderful joy to work with you and the whole LookUp.live organization. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the fundamental research and the underlying truths that we found when working with our design team and creating Quell, which is the product that we've been working on. We kind of realized that social media, or kind of really what I'm using, it's really internet entertainment, but I'm calling it social media. It creates a baseline stimulation to stimulate you and make you feel like you're actually getting content and absorbing knowledge. But you're really not. And we've realized that while users, when they're bored, instead of staring at a blank wall, they can pull out Twitter and scroll through people's tweets or watch YouTube videos and feel like they're getting stimulated and getting that content, but they're really not. And it's really actually unsatisfying. Yet we continue to do it because it's so accessible and it's always there, and you can always pull out your phone to absorb this content. And I think my peers and I actually have a really unique perspective looking at this, because as a child, we didn't really have these phones and this online connectivity. As a kid, when we're sitting in the car bored, our brain can actually meander and move in so many different ways. We can think, what if a bad guy breaks in with a knife? Like, what are we doing? There are so many different outlets of creativity that are just intrinsic, that we're actually losing because we have this accessibility of social media. And one of the great disservices for students, especially ADHD students like myself, is that accessibility. And when we're trying to do work or connect with friends, things that actually require using our brains, it's so easy to, when something is hard, just to revert to that baseline stimulation of that social media. So I think one of the really big goals and challenges we have as our design team, but also as a greater peer group and generation, is to kind of notice that, hey, the actual business model of this social media and of these online media sources is to take up our time and, in a way, limit our thinking. And they're making money and they're benefiting off that. How can we unlock our actual potential and look at ourselves and benefit ourselves in a way that doesn't involve the social media? Of course, like Juliet said, there are so many things that are positive, especially during COVID, of connecting friends and such. But I think there's a correct way to strike the balance between reaching out with friends, but also making sure we're doing what's best for ourselves with our time management and wellness management.
Thank you, Jesse. That's wonderful. So moving along, what I also realized is there are youth out there with great initiatives, passionate about this issue, passionate about really improving mental health and finding some digital wellness activities. And so that's where I turned to Jamie Levy, who is a recent graduate of the University of Delaware, and she's also the engagement director at the Digital Wellness Collective. So she's taken this into her work. So Jamie, let's hear about you.
Thank you so much, Susan. And I appreciate hearing from the different ages in this digital movement, because there are so many benefits of social and digital technology when used correctly. So as Juliet mentioned, how can we in these uncertain times use these digital tools to connect us and cultivate this deeper meaning and connection? And as Jesse mentioned, with the attention economy, how can we shift that lens to focus on ourselves and use technology to empower ourselves and flourish together? So I'm so grateful to be taking on this challenge to digitally flourish together and be leaders in this time, to demonstrate what does it mean to digitally flourish online? How can you use social media in a way that empowers not only yourself, but your community and people around the world? It's so beautiful how Wi-Fi has connected us around the globe. And in these uncertain times, we need this connection now more than ever. So I'm just grounded in the possibilities and grateful to know that we are never alone.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And wow, right? I mean, what happens if we get 1,000, 10,000, social innovators, activists for this movement among Gen Z? And so that's really what LookUp.live is all about. Yes, we are fueling and incubating solutions, but we are also looking for you. If you are in Gen Z, if you have an initiative, we want you. We want everybody together to really shift the social norms towards tech-life balance, to better mental health, to happier lives. So thank you so much, Never Alone Summit. You can find out more about us at lookup.live, at the lookupchallenge.com, as well as digitalwellness.com. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan Reynolds, and your great teenager, beautiful Juliet, Jesse, and Jamie. You're so inspiring. I have a teenager myself, so I need to depollute him from his own social media, but he's pretty good at it. I think if you empower them, like he was saying, it's all about their responsibility and how you want to lead your life. So thank you for that.